Hey, all my roadies. So I have a story that took place about 30 minutes away from where Larry and I live at in Illinois, and it happened about 2 weeks ago. This is where a domestic abuse situation wound up turning deadly with a truck driver. So on February 22nd, about 3:15 in the morning, the police received a call in the 911 dispatch center in Forrestal, Missouri, from a man saying that a shooting had just taken place in Forrestal, Missouri, and the gentleman who called in that call was named Clyde Young, who was 28 years of age. When police arrived on the scene, they found a woman inside of a 2023 Cascadia Freightliner semi-truck who had been shot to death in the vehicle. That semi-truck was leased on to Clyde Young, the gentleman who made the 911 phone call. Now, the victim, who was later identified, was 47-year-old Amy Lynn Dela Cruz of Missouri. Now, according to Clyde, he said that the two of them had gotten into a really bad argument, that the two of them had been in a relationship, and on that particular morning had gotten into a really bad argument. And sometime during that argument, Clyde wound up grabbing his shotgun and shooting Amy in the head in the back of his semi-truck. By the time the police arrived there at the semi-truck, Clyde had already taken off. He was gone. He was out of there. And they wound up figuring out, after running the registration, that he was the owner of that semi-truck. So they tried to get a hold of Clyde, and that's when he told him about the fight and the argument that had happened. So they wound up talking to him for several hours, trying to negotiate with him and trying to come to some type of arrangement where he was going to come in and give himself up. Finally, they agreed on a location. They were going to meet at a Phillips 66 gas station in West Alton, Illinois, where Clyde was going to come in and he was going to give himself up to the police. Now, before the police wound up meeting up with Clyde at that location in West Alton, they wound up going to file for 2 warrants for his arrest, so that at the time that they picked up Clyde, that they would have the arrest warrants in hand. So they wound up getting 2 different ones. They wound up filing and receiving arrest warrants for him for first-degree murder and also armed criminal action. Also, before the appointed time of when they were going to meet up with Clyde, they wound up setting up a pretty big perimeter around that gas station to make sure that they were going to keep the public away while they were there discussing with Clyde. So Clyde winds up showing up at the gas station, but he's not ready to give himself up yet. So they are in communication with Clyde over a phone, and for 3 hours they sit here and try to negotiate with Clyde and try to explain to him that there's really no choice. He's surrounded by police at this point. They know what he's done. He's admitted to what he's done, and now he just needs to do the right thing and give himself up and just face the consequences. So after 3 hours of unsuccessful negotiations with Mr. Clyde, that is when Mr. Young winds up walking back to his pickup, or walking back to his truck, and winds up retrieving a firearm. He gets out of his truck with the firearm in hand and winds up shooting off several rounds at the police department. One police officer turned around and he shot 1 round towards Mr. Young. It was at that point they noticed that Young was down on the ground. So when they approached him and checked him over, they said that he wound up dying from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. I do want to mention that while I was researching this case over the last 2 weeks, there has been mention from Amy's family and friends that DV was definitely a prevalent factor in their relationship. Unfortunately, I can't say that word on TikTok because TikTok bans videos that mentions that word. But if you are in a DV situation, I feel it is imperative that I try to remind you that there is help for you out there. Being a DV survivor of 25 years myself, you do not have to stay in that situation and you can leave. There is help available for you. If you are looking to get out of a DV situation, or you know someone who is involved in one, please call the DV National Hotline. That number is going to be listed below. It is 88788. You can call or text. You can remain anonymous if you want. If you're more of a chat type of person, you can go to their website and chat with someone right now anonymously. And that address is thehotline.org. I'm going to put all that information down below. And last but not least, all my roadies, please be safe out there. Please be sure to like and share and follow our videos. I really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.